This is Jeanette Shakalli from Panama. She's going to talk to us about a wonderful set of opportunities that she administers both in English and in Spanish about enjoyable educational mathematics. So, Jeanette.
Thank you, Brian, so much for this opportunity. So let me start by sharing my screen. And here we go. So I would like to start by sharing pictures of little me. So Brian had asked me to share a little bit about my story as a female Panamanian mathematician. So I'm going to start with that. And this is little me. I was born and raised in Panama City, Panama. And since I was little, I loved to eat pasta. I still do. And I was a very curious little girl. So when I was in high school, I participated in the Panamanian Math Olympics and I won. Can you believe that? I won a gold and a bronze medal. And it was an incredible experience. But then I had to decide what I wanted to study. And I ended up going to the University of Notre Dame. But the interesting thing is that my mom wanted me to study medicine, and my dad wanted me to study finance or business administration or something related to that. And to be honest, I wasn't really excited about either of those options. So the good thing about going to the University of Notre Dame is that the first year, I didn't have to decide what I wanted to do as a major. I was able to just take the normal core courses of every freshman. And by the end of the first year, that's when I decided, you know what? I want to study math and chemistry. So I ended up doing a double major. But then when I was about to graduate, I had to decide what I wanted to do with my life. And so I took an RU program, which is an undergraduate research experience during one summer at a biochemistry lab. And I really didn't like the experience. I'm sorry to say this, but what happened was that they asked me to do the same experiment over and over again. And I just thought it was a bit boring. So I decided I did not want to follow a career in chemistry. But then the following summer, I did an RU program in math, and I was given a different math problem every single day. And I got to solve these math problems with my friends. So I wasn't alone, and it was an incredible experience. And so that's when I decided I wanted to continue studying mathematics. So I chose math. I finally know what I want to do. And so I felt invincible. So then I applied to several universities and I was accepted at Texas A&M University. I even got a fellowship for my first year of graduate studies. So I decided to attend Texas A&M and I chose my PhD thesis advisor to be Dr. Sarah Witherspoon. And so my specialty was in abstract algebra. By the way, I didn't mention that in the slide that I showed of the University of Notre Dame, let me go back for a second. I didn't mention that those were my friends, some of my friends. And so I was very happy at the University of Notre Dame. And then afterwards, when I went to Texas A&M University, there you can see some other friends who were also doing a PhD in mathematics with me. And I was very happy. So then I graduated from Texas A&M. I got my PhD in mathematics. During that time, I attended math conferences and I met these lovely mathematicians all over the world. It was an incredible experience. I also did research and teaching while I was a PhD graduate student. And for example, here is a photo of a poster that I presented in a math conference, and I was so proud of this poster. This poster took forever to create. By the way, the graph that you see there, oh, I didn't do this poster by myself. I was working with a colleague called Corbin Rusek, and we worked on that graph forever. So I always show this photograph because it took forever for that graph to look that great. Anyway, so then when I got my PhD in mathematics, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life again. So now what? So I decided that I would go back to Panama. I would go back to my country. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I decided that I wanted to go back home. And Here I show you, just in case you don't know where Panama is in Central America. So we're exactly in the middle between North America and South America. And we are very well known for the Panama Canal, of course, and because of our beautiful wildlife. And I just included 2 pictures on this slide so that I get more people excited about visiting Panama. So then, while I was here back home, I ended up working for the National Secretariat of Science, Technology, and Innovation of Panama, NSC, which is part of the Panamanian government. I ended up working there for 7 years. And during that time, I was the executive assistant of this wonderful person. His name is Dr. Jorge Mota. He was the national secretary, and he became my mentor. And I will tell you why on the next slide. So here's what happened. I continued attending my math conferences, even though I was the executive assistant of Dr. Mota. And while I was attending the conferences, I saw these wonderful international speakers give amazing talks about math outreach. And I noticed how much I enjoyed them, and all the other people in the audience were enjoying them too, that I wondered, well, what if I brought these invited speakers to Panama to give talks open to the general public about mathematics? And so when I asked Dr. Mota about this, he said yes. And that's how my program on math outreach was born. So he was responsible for accepting my idea, for believing in me and saying, yes, let's do this. And here on the right-hand side, you can see all the flyers of all the events that we organized. In total, it was 22 in-person events in the Republic of Panama. We ended up going to 9 of the 10 provinces of the Republic. We only missed 1, which still annoys me, but that's okay. We had more than 1,800 attendees, and it was a huge success. I mean, we had to add extra chairs in the back of the room. People were still standing because they all wanted to see what the speaker had to share about mathematics. And every time we had one of these events, people would always ask us, so who's the next speaker and what's the next topic and when are you going to have a new event? So it became a family tradition because people kept asking about it. And so that's when we realized that this program was indeed a huge success. And now I want to briefly mention some of the names and topics that appear on this slide. So we have Arthur Benjamin, for example, who talks about magic and math. And Elisa Cornell, who did art and math. Michael Dorff presented on math in Disney and Pixar movies. We have Dave Kung, who presented on music and math. Robert Lang did origami and math. So we have these incredible speakers. Eugenia Cheng, who talked about food and math. And these events were just incredible. By the way, when these invited speakers came to Panama, they didn't just give a talk. Of course, we took them around the country so that they could see our wildlife, go to the Panama Canal, eat our delicious food. So they had a lovely experience. But then in 2019, we had presidential elections. And unfortunately, when you have presidential elections, you get new authorities, and the new authorities come with their own priorities. And the new authorities who came to Senasi, unfortunately, did not find our program on math outreach to be a priority. And that's when I decided that I had to create an organization that was independent of the government, of any other academic center, basically of everybody else, so that we could continue doing what we had seen was not only important and necessary in Panama, but people were asking for it. So that's how the Panamanian Foundation for the Promotion of Mathematics was born. But before I mention that, I do have to tell you that here are a few photos of that program on math outreach that I was mentioning, evidence that the rooms were actually full. And here it is. So the Panamanian Foundation for the Promotion of Mathematics, FUNDAPROMAT, is a private nonprofit foundation. It was born on December 6, 2019. And even though we're only 5 years old, we have done so much. And our mission is to change the world's perception so that one and all can experience mathematics as accessible, relevant, and inherently joyous. And in order to do that, we organize events, both virtual and in person. They are free and they're open to the general public, which means that kids and adults of all ages attend. And so far, we have organized more than 500 events with more than 50,000 participants, including Panamanians and internationals from all over the world. Also, I am very proud to mention that we have visited all 10 provinces of the Republic of Panama through FUNDAPROMAT. And so now I briefly want to mention what I mean by virtual and in-person events so that you have a general idea about this. And then share also a few learning resources that you can download for free on our website. So our most famous virtual events are our math jamborees. These are virtual events for the entire family that take place once a month in Spanish. That's why if you see the flyer, it says Holgorio Matemático. That's how we say it in Spanish. And during these events that take place on Zoom, we separate into groups depending on whether the participants are kids or adults, and we explore a fun math activity in an environment of collaboration and a lot of fun. We also organize virtual origami classes in which we connect mathematics with the art of paper folding. We organize webinars on recreational mathematics in which we connect math to everything that surrounds us as well as other disciplines. And in fact, one of our upcoming virtual events is called Explore the Virtual Museum of Mathematics. That's organized by the Mexican Mathematical Society together with FUNDAPROMAT. That's going to be on Thursday, March 6th. I should mention these as well as the virtual origami classes are also in Spanish. We also run virtual encounters with outstanding mathematicians in which the speakers are female mathematicians. They first share their personal stories as well as their professional journeys and in Spanish, and then they will present on an interesting math topic. And these we organize so that we can inspire our youth, in particular girls, to study math or follow a career in STEM by showing them real-life examples of women who are successful in these careers. Now, you've noticed that I've mentioned that everything is in Spanish so far. We do organize one math webinar in English per month because in 2021, the English-speaking community complained to me. So we do organize one math webinar in English, and in particular, these are organized with the Mathematical Association of America, with the MAA, and our next math webinar in English is going to be on February 19th at 5 p.m. Panama time, and our invited speaker is Perla Myers. So I highly invite you all to join, well, these and all the ones that you want, of course. I should mention for you to join these virtual events, which are free and open to the general public, you do need to register beforehand. If you notice, every flyer has a registration link. And that registration link closes the day before the event at 2 p.m. EST. So you want to make sure that you fill out the information in the registration link so that you can get the Zoom link via email the day before the event. And that way you can join. Now, let me mention a little bit about our in-person events. Our most famous in-person events are our math carnivals. I should mention that we have kids, adults, teenagers, even grandparents who attend these events. But since kids are so cute, that's why you'll see that most of my pictures are kids playing at our in-person events. But I will mention once again that we don't just work with students, we work with teachers, with parents, with everybody. Because if we want to change that negative perception that so many people have towards mathematics, we have to work with everyone, with the entire society. Now, math carnivals take place in parks, museums, and malls because the idea is to get the students and the teachers outside of the classroom so that they can explore new ideas and so that we can spark their curiosity so that when they go back to the classroom, they have a more open mind towards mathematics. And so our last math carnival in Panama was in October of last year. Right now, we're organizing our first math carnival for 2025, which will take place in March. We also organize origami workshops, Rubik's Cube workshops, math parties, cutting carnivals, and many other in-person events. But our most famous are our math carnivals. And I should mention we have a website, fundapromat.org. The website is in Spanish, but if you click on the right-hand side on the top, there's a button that says EN, and then everything is translated into English. I should mention that it is not Google translated, it is correctly translated into English. And then if you click on the button that says calendar on the top right, then a calendar of events will open, and that's when you'll be able to find out about all our upcoming events. If by any chance you ever come to Panama and you would like to attend one of our in-person events, you usually don't have to register to attend our in-person events. People just show up and enjoy themselves. Now, I should mention we have learning resources on our website that you can download for free. And one of those is our virtual escape room. This is available in Spanish and in English. And the idea is that you're trapped in an enchanted mansion. And the question is if you can solve the 10 hidden puzzles and escape the enchanted mansion. We also have a scavenger hunt. This was created with Magna Math, and it's also available in Spanish and in English. And the idea is if you can solve a few math puzzles to figure out a solution to a problem. We also have a math gallery, which combines mathematics with art. You can just enjoy the math and art, or you can challenge yourself to solve the 12 puzzles found all around the math gallery. By the way, the images in these are incredible, and it's also available in Spanish and in English. I do have to mention that I recommend you open it on your phone. With the computer, it's a little bit difficult to navigate the gallery. It's easier if you do it on your phone. We also have a magazine, the Factorial magazine. This is only available in Spanish for now. We have 3 issues of the Factorial magazine so far. And the idea behind this magazine is to have articles that are accessible to a general audience. So we'll have math topics as well as math education, but everything accessible to kids and adults alike. Then we also have the teaching resources that I mentioned. This is a section in which you will be able to find 111 math outreach activities that you can download for free on our website. Why 111 is kind of a funny number is because we've run 111 math jamborees so far. So that's why you'll find all those math outreach activities on our website. And right now, all those activities are only available in Spanish. Sorry about that, but we're working on it. It's a lot of activities. And let's see. We also have, or I would also like to point out that we work with volunteers. So if you love what I've been telling you about and you would like to volunteer, we do have volunteers here in Panama who help us out in our in-person events. This image, for example, was taken after a math carnival that took place in one of our malls called Town Center in Costa del Este. But we also have international volunteers who help us with our virtual events. And these are a few of them. Here we have volunteers from Chile, Peru, Mexico, Argentina, Spain, Portugal, Guatemala, and many other countries. And this photo was taken in December 2022, when it was the first time that we brought these international volunteers to Panama City so that they would meet each other in person. So we had been working together for 2 years and everything was via Zoom. So we finally were able to find the funding to bring them to Panama in 2022, and it was an incredible experience. You can just imagine it. It was fantastic. So now we're trying to raise more funds to bring them back to Panama in December 2025, because it's been 3 years. So we want to, strengthen the relationships among our volunteers and exchange knowledge and learn from each other, analyze the impact of our programs, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're working on right now to see if we can bring them back to Panama in December of this year. And let me see, I think that's all I wanted to share about FUNDAPROMAT, but I do have two final messages for those of you who are listening to me or are going to listen to me in the future when you see the recording. So here are my two main messages. The first one is, once you discover your passion, embrace it. And my second final message is, if your dream job does not exist, create it. Thank you so much. Here is my contact information, info@fundapromat.org. If you would like to be an invited speaker in one of our math webinars in English, or you would like to participate in some way and help FUNDAPROMAT, you are more than welcome to email me. If you have any general questions about what we do, I did give like a very, very, very short summary of what's happening and what we're doing. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. And thank you so much, Brian.
Well, thank you very, very, very